Hello, everyone, and welcome to another installment of The Report. I'm Art Fennell. My guest today is one of the most sought-after people in the country. But you'd never know that if you just look back to where he started. Poor, broke, and illiterate in the Deep South, the son of a bean picker. Well, today, he is one of the most successful attorneys to step into a courtroom. His name is Willie Gary, a.k.a. the Giant Killer. They call him that because he's built his career taking down some of the biggest corporate giants in the country on behalf of his underdog clients. He's been featured in Forbes magazine, Ebony, Jet, Fortune, the New York Times, 60 Minutes, Oprah, just to name a few. But Willie Gary also took the time to stop by Art Fennell Reports to talk about his humble beginnings and his skyrocketing career. You're one of those people who certainly your reputation precedes you because the reputation is so storied and so very, very impressive. And we're going to get into that because, you know, for people who are watching you and seeing you for the first time,
right.
This is an opportunity for them to have a chance to look at the man inside the legend. But speaking of the legend, I took the liberty of jotting down some of your buzz monikers. The sharecropper's son, from the bean picker to the giant killer, from the migrant worker to the millionaire. You know, all of the alliterations there just kind of seem to flow there.
God is good.
God is good. What's it like being a master litigator and at the very top of your game?
Well, it's a good feeling, specifically when you set out to be all that you can be. You work hard to be all that you can be, and when you got your start from all the way down here when nobody believed in you, nobody thought you could do it, but you believed and you thought you could, and you paid the price. You burned the midnight oil. You did everything that you had to do. I'll never forget it. I used to prepare to the point where there was not a question that anybody could ask me that I didn't already know the answer, and I was 2 or 3 questions ahead of them. But to do that, it takes a lot of work. It takes a lot of dedication. But then to be able to get to a point where you feel like, well, you know, I can do this, man.
You can do it.
I was born to do this.
And do it well. Well, not just do it, but do it well.
Well, we try hard. We try hard.
Well, let's go back though, because your story is fascinating, particularly from the early days. All of these viewers know I'm an old country boy from South Carolina, but you came up down in the South.
Well, we both are sons of the South.
Well, yeah, sons of the South. And we talked about the bean picker and being a sharecropper and so forth, but you had it very, very rough in those early days. There were days when you had to leave school to go to the field, didn't you?
Yes, you may recall a small town in South Carolina near Spartanburg, Landrum, South Carolina.
Absolutely, I do.
But we used to go up there to work the crops every day to pick string beans, and man, it was tough. My daddy used to work from sun up to sundown, and then when we were just little kids, we had to go to the fields because you didn't have daycare, you had field care. So they took care of you in the fields, and I'll never forget it, man. And even when we got into high school and junior high school, we couldn't go to school but a half a day. You had to go to work. After 12 o'clock, they pull you out of school, put you on the labor buses, and you went to the bean fields or the string bean fields, and you worked the rest of the day.
And as a result, your early education was compromised as a result.
That's right, because you could only go to school half a day.
You couldn't even really read back then very well, could you?
That's right, man. The deck was stacked against you. But that's why I say to kids every day, you know, man, no matter what the odds are, you can beat the odds. You be an odds buster. Don't let anybody hold you back.
Did you really try to read the road signs and try to figure out what the words were saying?
Sitting on the labor buses, riding to the string bean fields, the cornfields, you'd see signs and you try to figure out what. As a matter of fact, I used to go to some of the white field bosses and would ask them to pronounce words for you because you had to work. You couldn't go to school. And you wanted to go to school. And you couldn't do it. That's why I say to kids today, you got to do it. Don't tell me you can't do it.
Well, your first big break may have been an athletic one because you were an athlete, you're a football player, and so you said, maybe my ticket out of here is to go to the football field. And so you went out and tried out, right?
Yeah, in junior high school, I'll never forget it. I had, I watched my brothers and sisters before me. There were 5 before me and 5 after me. The 5 before me wanted to go to school, but they had to go to work. It wasn't even a choice. It wasn't like, I mean, it was just, there were 13 of us that lived in a shack about the size of a 2-car garage. And we had to work, man, just to put food on the table. So my brothers and sisters before me never got the chance, and they wanted to go to school. Well, thank God I got a chance to do it. And then all 5 after me finished school, finished college. So it all worked, but it was tough, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you wanted to go to school and you couldn't.
I read that you, when you went to try out for the team, at one point you slept on the couch, and the players would come and bring you food because you weren't part of the team yet. Right. And
well, that was when I went up to Raleigh. I left Bethune-Cookman. They cut me at Bethune-Cookman because I went back to serve on the board of trustees later.
And you reminded them that.
They said, be careful, because what goes around comes around. But Bethune-Cookman is a great school, and I really appreciate the opportunity to work with them. But I went on to Shaw after I got cut from the team, and man, it was tough. They didn't have any room for me there, and like I said, I slept on the sofa in the lobby of the dormitories at night. And after the coaches made their rounds, and it was cold at night, and the players would give me blankets to cover from the cold, and they bring food from the cafeteria during the day. I stayed there. I was told I had to leave campus, but I didn't. I stayed there.
It's because you knew that, look, this is where the opportunity is. Right. If I'm not here, I'm going back to the bean field.
That's right.
Well, you would go on to put yourself through school, from working, and to put yourself through law school, and to begin to move on, and certainly, as they say, the rest begins to be history. Here's my next question. When was your first $1 million case, or because you've had many of them? Do you even know how many you've had?
I think I've lost count now. but I thank God every day because I went back to Stuart, Florida. I was the first black lawyer in Martin County. I couldn't get a job anywhere, and thank God I couldn't, because I had to start my own practice. I don't know what would have happened had I been given a job. So sometimes, your blessings come in disguise, and you have to understand that a setback is sometimes getting you ready for a comeback. I couldn't get a job, and I had 2 kids and my wife, and so I just had to do it.
You had work to do.
I had to get it done.
But what was that big case that when it came about, you said, my goodness, this is a big one. I've got to get this one right?
What I was about to say, I started practicing law when I was 27, and by the time I was 29, I was a millionaire. I was rolling, man. I was really rolling, because I just
You weren't afraid.
Not afraid. I don't care. I just have that attitude that the bigger they are, the harder they fall.
That's why they call you the giant killer?
Well, I think about David when he took on Goliath, and he wasn't afraid. And, he just had a stone and the slingshot. And so no matter how big they are, no matter what the resources are, I always felt that I could do it. I could get it done.
Well, and that's important, because the resources, big companies have big resources. And if you were just starting out, that had to be a little bit intimidating.
Yeah, it was. But, I was just so excited about being somebody and being the best that I could be as a lawyer. I didn't even think about it. I was supposed to be afraid, and I didn't even know it. You know what I mean? I just said, look, I'm taking on, come on, let's go, let's get it on.
You're a member of the Golden Legal Eagles. Is that still out there?
I guess it's probably 15 or 20 different organizations I'm still a part of and I've been through, but that's one of them.
And that one is that these are
lawyers that have won a lot of major multi-million, 100 million, 200 million, 300 million, 400 million, $500 million cases.
And you've won those 3, 4, 5?
Oh, yes.
My goodness, I can't even count that high. Again, those cases are typically predicated on the fact that there is an underdog, someone who's small, who has been wronged. And it's some big company that someone has to represent them before that. I know you was part of the Coca-Cola deal and some of the other. These are big companies.
Yeah, major companies.
And so when it started to grow and started to boom, could you see it? Could you feel it? What was that like back in the early days?
Well, it was a good feeling, because not only was I having success as in my profession, but I was able to do so much for my community and the people around me. My mom and dad, who had never had the opportunity to go anywhere. They traveled with me. I took them everywhere, every convention, every meeting. Sisters and brothers, I did the same thing. And then in the community, I started doing things like the Community Angel Foundation is doing with.
In Philadelphia,
yeah,
very
yeah.
promising, up-and-coming foundation.
Yeah.
Venice Newton is
She is a
the
mover
founder
and a
of that,
shaker.
and making it happen. Just another, and I suppose that you take to those kinds of causes because you feel akin to it.
Yeah, because it's a cause that's making a difference. It's reaching out to young people. It's reaching out to people that no doubt would ever gotten the opportunity to have the little things of life, man. Some people are hurting, man. You know, sometimes we worry about our bills, and some people are worrying about food.
Yeah.
Where it's going to come from.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, you form good alliances, and there's a fellow that we all know and love by the name of Johnny Cochran.
Oh, man. Wow.
Who was just at the top of his game, but it should be pointed out, you pulled Johnny Cochran in and hired him for jobs.
Well, Johnny and I worked together, and he, Johnny was at first was more into the. I do civil litigation. Well, I sue people. A lady asked me the other day, very old lady, and I knew she wouldn't have understood litigation and all this stuff. She said, Mr. Gary, what do you do for a living? I said, well, ma'am, let me think about it. I said, I sue people. And she said, for what? I said, money. So I can help people. I can make a difference. But Johnny did so much for so many young brothers and sisters that would have never gotten a fair shake in the criminal arena. Mm-hmm. But then, of course, as a matter of fact, he referred the Disney case to me. And I said, Johnny, you want me to take on Mickey Mouse down in Orlando? Yeah. How am I going to go in Mickey's own backyard and take on Mickey? He said, well, Willie, you can do it. I don't do this type work, but you do. And because there was a issue of a guy that Disney had stole their ideas. And so we did that case together, and we did $240 million. $240 million. And got paid.
And that was one of the all-time legal duos, you might say, that there'll ever be, having Willie Gary and Johnny Cochran, as together on the same team there. Willie Gary is one of the foremost attorneys in the United States of America. He is not a small fry by any means. I'm going to prove it to you when we come back, as we hear more about the giant killer, the man who overcame the odds to soar far, far beyond where anyone ever imagined. You're watching Art Fennell Reports on the Comcast Network, and we will be right back after this break. Welcome back to Art Fennell Reports. Today I'm talking with Willie E. Gary, the giant killer, the man, the legend when it comes to the legal affairs. If you need an attorney, if you could afford this guy, this is the person you would want to have in your corner. He is the founder of the Gary Group out of Stuart, Florida. What's that, down near the Panhandle? We're down near West Palm Beach. Yeah. How many guys do you have on your litigation team now?
We total people in the firm, we have about 150 people.
About 150 people in the firm. Boy, that's a long ways from those early days,
and
isn't
when
it?
I did it, I started it all just me and my wife.
Yeah.
Just the two of us, and God has blessed us.
Yeah, well, as they say, this is a man, if you didn't see our first half of our discussion, who has litigated more multi-million-dollar cases and won verdicts in those cases than he could even remember as he sits here now in the $200, $300, $400, $500 million range. And you know what? You're also a man who knows how to enjoy life. You know, you make all